saw him first. He's mine. No, he's not, Patty. He followed me home. Well, you can't keep him. I don't see why not. He doesn't belong to you. He doesn't belong to you either. Finders, keepers. Natalie, Patty's trying to take away... That's not true, Mom. I brought home the cutest...
Just a minute, both of you. There will be no more pets in this house. No exceptions. Where is he?
I left him in the living room. You mean I left him in the living room? He came home with me.
Well, he's going out with you.
There he is.
Meet Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Cathy's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day. Where Cathy adores a minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll. A hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet. Still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Happy to meet you, Mr.
Cal, ma'am. Please call me Cal.
Cal is from Bhukanistan. It's near India.
Well, you are very welcome here.
You are most gracious. This is the first home I have ever been in.
Oh, you mean in America?
I mean ever.
Back home, don't you live with your parents?
I am an orphan. I live with my uncle. It must be wonderful to have this kind of privacy. At home, 50 of us live under one roof.
50?
Sometimes more. My country is a very poor one. I came over here to learn things so that I can help my people when I return.
That's beautiful. Cal is here to learn American know-how.
That's one of our best exports. How do you like America so far?
Very, very much. The people are so warm.
I see. Oh, that must be the cleaners. Oh.
This is the first money I have ever handled.
You mean the first American money?
The first money ever. I mean, we are not allowed to handle money.
Excuse me.
How did you make out in your exams yesterday?
I did well in some subjects. In others, what do you say, goofed.
We have a lot in common. I'm terrible in school.
The most difficult subject for me is American history. We are having a test on Friday. I was hoping perhaps we could stuff together.
Stuff together?
Well, you know, squeeze.
Oh, you mean cram?
Oh, that's it, cram.
I'll help you, Cal. Who's going to help you? I know more about American history than she does. She's been brought up in Europe. I've had the advantage of living in Brooklyn Heights all my life. Would you like to stay and have dinner with us, Cal?
Please do. I make very good potato pancakes.
I would enjoy that very much. But unfortunately, tonight I cannot. I must be with my uncle.
Then come another night.
You come as often as you like.
I'll see you to the door. I'll walk you home. It's about time. Where did you walk him to, Bhukanistan? Cousin dear, this is a free country. As one of our great American presidents said, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. It's my kitchen. Cal came here today to see me. Then why did he walk home with me? Because you threw yourself at him. Maybe I did, but he caught me. I'm doing you a favor. Cal's not your type. And exactly what type is he? Well, he's dark and dreamy looking. That's my type. He needs someone who can teach him American customs. That's me. I'm as American as apple pie. Oh, and what am I? A wet crumpet.
You should have heard him, Martin. He's never had any money in his life. He lives in a place with 50 people, and yet he doesn't feel one bit sorry for himself. All he kept talking about was going back to his country and helping his people.
Sounds like quite a boy.
He is. He's beautiful and very serious-minded.
He came to this country to learn American customs.
And which one of you two is helping him to learn?
I am.
Oh?
Oh, don't look at me. I'm just the referee.
Is this what they mean by the eternal triangle?
I'll have to meet this boy. I didn't think the two of you were attracted to the same type.
A dreamboat is a dreamboat in any language.
I'd like to help him if we could. He lives with an uncle, and he didn't say much, but I get the feeling that the uncle is pretty strict with him.
Well, if he has a financial problem, I might be able to get him a job on the paper after school.
Could you, Uncle Martin? We'd appreciate that. Who's we? Casimir and I.
I'll check and see if we have an opening for a copy boy.
I could make him a loan. He couldn't afford your rates. You know something? I hope Cathy gets him. That's a terrible thing to say to your own sister.
It's a silly thing to say. Why, it isn't as though Cathy and Patty are competing for him.
No, of course not. No, of course not. Now, next question. The Louisiana Purchase was made in?
1803, December 20.
Very good. Next. Who followed President Arthur?
Mrs. Arthur?
What I had in mind was President Cleveland.
I know. Grover. Could we stop a while, Catherine?
I'm sorry. I have been pushing you pretty hard. I got carried away.
You are a wonderful teacher.
You're easy to teach.
There is so much to learn, so much to do.
You can do anything you want to.
You make me believe it.
It's true. All you need is a dream. And you have one.
What is your dream, Catherine?
To make a chocolate souffle that won't fall.
No, tell me.
I'm full of dreams. I'd like to be a teacher, or a nurse, or a scientist, and invent something to help humanity. When I was a little girl, I used to dream of doing some great deed and having a city named after me.
Catherineville. It has a nice sound. My uncle would like you. Last night I told him about you.
What did you tell him?
It does not matter. I brought you a gift.
Cal, you must never do that.
But why? Is that not the custom in your country?
That isn't the point. You mustn't ever spend any of your money on me.
I did not spend any money on it. I had it. And I wanted very much for you to have it. Please, open it.
It's beautiful.
Do you really like it?
Very much. It will make a lovely paperweight.
A paperweight? It is yours to do with as you wish.
There you are. Well, sorry I'm late. Now we can all sit down and do our homework together. Let's see, here we go now. Who followed President Arthur? Mrs. Arthur?
Say, that's pretty. Where'd it come from?
Cal brought it.
No, that looks like a real emerald.
Except that if it were, it'd be worth about $100,000.
Well, it can't be worth $100,000. I just got him a job as a copy boy on the Chronicle.
That's wonderful.
Oh, Natalie. Unless I'm crazy, this real emerald is a real emerald.
That's impossible.
What'd you say this boy's name was?
Casimir Prakashamond.
Cal... Oh, no.
Have you heard of him?
Heard of him? My new copy boy is the Crown Prince of Buchanistan.
Cal, he couldn't be.
Why not?
Because he had lunch here and I used my old silver. He said he was poor. He said he lived in a place with 50 servants. And he never handled money because...
He had an equerry to take care of little details like that. His uncle is General Sarika, the United Nations delegate from Buchanistan. I did an interview with him last week.
Whose uncle is General Sarika?
Your friend Cal. He's the Crown Prince of Buchanistan.
What? Holy moly. My Cal is a crown prince?
Well, I don't know whose Cal he is, but he's a prince, all right. Oh, I'll get that. Guard it with your life.
He never told me. He wanted me to treat him like just an ordinary boy. It's the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
General Sarika.
Mr. Lane, I'm very sorry to intrude without notice, but the matter is urgent.
Yes, well, I know why you're here, General, and I assure you they had no idea the emerald was genuine.
Emerald?
And it's right in here. General Sarika, may I present Mrs. Lane, my daughter Patty.
I'm very happy to meet you, General. Your nephew has spoken of you.
I have come on behalf of His Highness, the Crown Prince of Buchanistan, to bring a proposal of marriage.
Oh, Mom.
To your niece, Catherine.
Kathy? Are you sure you got the message right? I'm Patty. Both our names end in Y. It's very easy to make a mistake.
There is no mistake.
I'll get Cathy. Don't anybody dare say a word until I get back.
I don't know what to say, General. This comes as something of a shock.
I'll say.
His Highness is very impulsive, but once his mind is made up, he does not change it. If your niece will have herself in readiness at noon tomorrow, a limousine will pick her up and bring her to the embassy, where the marriage contract will be signed. Will that be convenient?
I'm afraid not.
Another time would be more convenient?
Yes, about 5 years from now. General Sarika, Cathy is 16 years old.
I have pointed that out to His Highness. He said he has nothing against older women.
Older?
In our country, the brides are usually younger. Your Highness.
Cathy, this is General Sarika. Now, the General has come here...
I know. Aunt Natalie told me. Calmer sent you.
His Royal Highness has asked me to convey to you his deep feelings for you and assurances that he will do everything in his power to see to your future happiness.
He said that?
Well, now, this is all very flattering, and we certainly appreciate the honor, General, but...
Your niece will be given a dowry of £1 million. She will have her own staff of servants, motor cars, a summer palace and a winter palace.
A summer palace and a winter palace?
Oh, General, I'm afraid
The marriage ceremony will take place in Buchanistan in 10 days.
No, it won't. Now, please tell the prince there is not going to be any ceremony. General Sarika, you must realize that American customs are a little different.
But surely these customs are the same all over the world.
Well, not in this case. His Royal Highness has picked the wrong girl. I mean, Cathy is not even out of high school yet. Surely you don't believe that she's going to leave her home and travel halfway around the world to live in a foreign country with the Crown Prince. Well, tell him, Cathy.
Yes.
Martin, we've got to find a way to stop this.
We're going to, but not by forbidding them to see one another. We've got to be very careful that Cathy doesn't get hurt. We can't afford to offend Calmer. I mean, he's the head of a country, remember?
How could I forget it? Why couldn't they have brought a cat home?
What?
Nothing. Hadn't we better send Kenneth a cable?
And say what? Congratulations, you're going to be a father-in-law? Now, don't worry, Natalie. Believe me, Cathy will not go through with it. She's far too sensible.
You mean she's too sensible to turn down a handsome young prince whom she loves, £1 million, a summer palace, a winter palace?
Wait a minute. Whose side are you on?
There's a lot to be said for the other side, Martin. And besides, Cathy loves Cal.
How does she know who she loves? She's only 16.
I married you when I was 17.
Well, that was different. I mean, Cathy is attracted by the glamour, the fantasy of being a princess and ruling a country. It's storybook stuff.
It does sound glamorous, doesn't it?
Well, it's not going to sound so glamorous after I finish talking to her. I'm going to point out a few of the grim realities. She's going to be living in an underdeveloped country where there's a very high rate of poverty and living conditions are appalling. Don't worry. I'll knock that romantic little dream out of her. Oh, hello, Cath.
Hello, Uncle Martin. You're home early.
Yes. He has a lecture to give.
I've had the most wonderful time. I've been out shopping with Calmer.
Oh, what'd you buy? Matching elephants?
Isn't hers?
Cathy, sit down. Your Aunt Natalie and I want to talk to you. Now, Cathy, you're only 16 years old. You just can't get married and go running off to live in a country halfway around the world.
I agree.
You do? I told you there was nothing to worry about.
I talked to Cal and his uncle about it. I'm going to sign the marriage contract now, but I'm to stay here and finish school. I won't go to Afghanistan until I'm 18. Look at these books and maps Cal bought me. I want to learn everything there is to know about Afghanistan before I go over there.
Well, I think I can help you. I'd like to give you a few facts about Afghanistan.
Wonderful. Cal has already told me quite a bit about it. Did you know that its per capita income is one of the lowest in the world? The poverty and disease over there are incredible. And do you know what it's due to?
No.
Ignorance. They need schools, hospitals, roads. Cal and I have been talking about an irrigation project. If it works, it could turn a whole desert into farmland. Look, we could raise the per capita income 17% in the first 2 years. Isn't that exciting?
She asked you if that isn't exciting.
Oh, yes, very. Where's the money coming from?
Part of it is coming from me.
You mean you're going to irrigate a whole desert on $5 a week?
Cal is going to sell that emerald he gave me. At first he hated the idea. It's been in his family for hundreds of years. But I convinced him that unless it's put to use, it's just a worthless stone. It could feed 1,000 families for 3 years. Isn't it incredible? No one ever thought of it that way before. If you'll excuse me, I want to get some charts ready. Camera's coming over.
Well, you sure talked her out of her romantic little dream. What are we going to do now?
Cable Kenny's going to be a father-in-law.
Come in. What did you knock for? It's your room, too. I didn't want to disturb you if you were working on affairs of state or anything. What? If you want me to, I'll move into Ross's room and he can sleep on the couch. Don't you want to share this room with me anymore? Sure, but... Well, when you move into the palace, I don't want you to have to tell him the last place you lived you had to share a room and bath. What are you standing at attention for? Sit down. When do you sign the marriage contract? Friday? Gee, only 3 more days as a civilian. What do I call you? Princess or Your Highness? Is that what's worrying you? Patty, I love you. You call me Cathy, you silly idiot. Or better yet, Cat. You mean it? Certainly. I'm the good princess. Can I come and visit you at the palace? You'd better. I'd be dying of homesickness. No, you won't. You'll be too busy ruling everything. You'll have a suite of your own, and you can stay as long as you like. Cal doesn't have any brothers, does he? He has 7. 7? Bingo!
Anybody home at the palace?
Just us slave girls.
Is Cal here?
He stopped by to drop off a gift.
You know, we have to find some way to make him stop giving these expensive gifts.
I suppose so. Look.
The formal signing of the marriage contract will take place at our embassy tomorrow. As a courtesy, however, we thought you would like to look up the various conditions now.
Let me say it again, General. Cathy is a minor. Nothing she signs now will be binding.
We understand that, Mr. Lane. It is really a premarital agreement. We would like to get this done now because my nephew must return home next week. When Catherine reaches her 18th birthday, it will become binding.
Unless Cathy changes her mind.
I won't.
I will see to that.
Now, as to the terms, it is traditional for the bride to bring to the royal family 10 water buffalo.
Where am I going to find water buffalo in New York City?
50 camels.
I might be able to find one at the zoo, but 50 camels?
And the matter of money, the bride pays a dowry of all her worldly possessions to show her dependence upon her husband. How much money do you have?
$7.25.
$7.25.
If you can wait until Monday, I'll have another $5.
It will do. I think this covers the main points, but there are always these little difficulties with the first wife.
The first wife?
Yes, the dowry changes in future marriages.
Future marriages?
What future marriages are those, General?
It is a small point. In our country, a man may have as many wives as he can afford.
My father had 15.
Do you mean you want me to be your first wife?
Of course.
And that you will marry other women after me?
Not right away.
Not right away.
This is the most outrageous...
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, I just took it for granted you knew. It is a way of our people.
But it's not my way. When I get married, it's going to be for keeps.
For keeps?
To one man, with one wife. Me.
It is nothing to get excited over. Different countries, different customs. You will get used to this.
I don't intend to try.
You don't mean you're refusing to marry me?
You'd better find a girl when you get back home. In America, girls like it our way better. One to a customer.
This is such a little thing. I do not understand.
I will explain it to you in the limousine. I'm afraid there is nothing more to talk about.
Just to say goodbye.
Catherine, perhaps if we discussed this, you would change your mind.
No. Good luck with the irrigation project.
Thank you. Goodbye, Catherine.
I'm so sorry, Cathy. Are you very upset?
No. Just a little numb. Do you know? I was almost a princess.
So where's Cathy?
She's getting dressed. She'll be right down.
Oh. Patty, has she said anything to you about,
Calmere?
Mm-hmm.
No. The first few weeks were pretty rough, but I think she's all right now.
I'm not. Boy, I could have been living in a palace.
She doesn't talk about it much.
She hasn't been going out at all. Can't you get her interested in something?
Or somebody?
I try. She just likes to be by herself.
Well, maybe you could try just a little harder, huh?
Sure. Good morning.
Hello,
Hi,
dear.
Kath. Well, what do you girls have planned for tonight?
Richard and I are going bowling. Would you like to join us, Kath? No, thank you, Patty. I think I'll stay in and write some letters.
Why don't you go, Cathy? You haven't been out one night in the last 6 weeks.
I guess I'm just not ready yet.
Try to forget him.
I will. I know it's ridiculous. By now, he's certainly forgotten all about me.
Has he?
It's from Buchanistan.
What is it?
Look at the postmark. It's from Catherineville.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find
They laugh alike.
they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Gee, it's going to be exciting having Uncle Kenneth here for Christmas. Can we all go to the airport with Cathy to meet him?
Of course.
Hey, where is Cathy?
In her room, wrapping more presents for her father.
Christmas Eve will be here tomorrow. Monday the banks will let me borrow.
Will you please help me out of this? Certainly, brother dear. Thank you, sister dear.
Brother dear and sister dear. Those are the first civilized words they've exchanged since last Christmas.
Would you see if there's another string of lights in the basement, Ross?
Certainly, mother dear. Wouldn't it be great if we had Christmas every day?
I'd be bankrupt by February 1st.
Here are some more presents to go into the tree, Aunt Natalie. All those?
You must have spent next year's allowance on gifts for your father.
I may have to float alone. I simply can't believe Father will be here tomorrow. It's been almost a year since I've seen him. In just 7 hours and 10 minutes, he'll be boarding a plane in Brussels.
Oh, I'll get that. You keep trimming. Well, good evening, J.R.
I've been trying to get you on the phone for the last hour.
Well, I guess Patty must have been using it. Is anything wrong?
There's a revolution going on in Kurdistan.
Yeah, I know.
What you don't know is that last night one of our foreign correspondents evaded their border guards and entered the country illegally. He's been arrested and is being held in a government prison.
One of our foreign correspondents?
Your brother Kenneth.
Kenneth? Kenneth Lane of Chronicle accused of espionage and inciting a revolution. Well, that's impossible. Kenneth is in Brussels covering that trade conference.
That's what he's supposed to be doing. He flew over to Kurdistan without telling anybody. The rebel general's an old buddy of his and smuggled him into the country.
Well, that's good.
Is it? We're in trouble with their foreign office, our State Department, and the head of a foreign government. They've had me on the carpet all morning.
I'm sorry about that, J.R., but we've got to do something about Kenneth.
Yes, I intend to. If your brother Kenneth ever gets out of jail, he's fired.
You're firing my brother?
No, you are. Merry Christmas.
Meet Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bouquets, different as night and day. Where Cathy adores a minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll, a hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet, still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find
They laugh alike.
they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
But Kenneth's got to be here. You've no idea how Cathy's been looking forward to spending Christmas with her father. She's been planning for this all year.
I know. Now, we're going to have to tell her he's not coming.
You're right. You do it.
I think it would be better coming from you. You're a woman.
But Kenneth's your brother.
Well, he's your brother-in-law. Oh, Kath. Your Aunt Natalie wants to talk to you.
I was just going down to the basement to find another star. This one's bent.
Kathy,
Yes, Aunt Natalie?
your Uncle Martin would like to talk to you.
It's about Father, isn't it?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, yes, it is.
I've been thinking about it, too. He can only stay 1 week, and I've been trying to plan the most exciting things we can do before he goes back. It wouldn't be fair to just think about us. We should think of things that he would enjoy doing.
But if he couldn't get here for Christmas, we could always do all those things later, couldn't we? I mean, whenever he did get here.
Oh, he'll be here for Christmas. We've spent every Christmas of our lives together. Even when I was a little girl, after Mother died. Father would have to leave me to go to faraway places on assignments. Once I remember he was in Morocco. But no matter where he was at Christmas time, he always came back to me. On Christmas Eve, I would pull up a chair facing the front door and wait for him. And before midnight, that door would open and Father would walk in. He'll be here.
Cathy,
Yes, Aunt Natalie?
why don't you go find that star?
Right.
You handled that beautifully.
I handled it beautifully. Why didn't you tell her?
I couldn't.
Well, neither could I. You stand some more good news?
Go on.
When Kenneth gets back, he's going to be fired.
Fired?
It's J.R.'s orders. And guess who's going to have to do it to him? Scrooge.
Marvel. Didn't you tell J.R. it's Christmas?
Sure. He does all his firing on Christmas.
This is the worst Christmas of my life.
Move over.
What are we gonna do?
I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to spend Christmas Eve watching Cathy sitting in a chair in front of that door waiting for someone who's not coming.
Then we're back where we were. One of us has to tell her.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Alan Miller and the news.
No, we don't.
Oh, Martin, she has to be told.
Yeah, well, of course, but I haven't got the heart to do it, and neither do you.
Then who's going to do it?
Alan Miller.
Martin, we can't do that.
Good evening, ladies.
Excuse me, I have to check on my plum pudding.
Don't go, Kath.
Excuse me.
Did you want to talk to me?
Well, no, but I just thought maybe you'd like to watch the news with me.
The Coast Guard has ordered all small craft to take cover. Steamships to try to move out of the path of the storm, and coastal towns are being boarded up in anticipation of the violent onslaught. Moving to news overseas. World leaders in the spirit of Christmas met today to talk of peace and to plan treaties to implement those talks.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes. I must go. My plum pudding is burning.
Yeah, but the news isn't over yet.
You tell me if I miss anything exciting.
You're going to find a white Christmas this year, for all of Europe is shivering in the grip of a severe cold wave.
Papa, do you have any thumbtacks?
Oh, yeah, somewhere there.
Out of revolution-torn Kurdistan comes word tonight that an American foreign correspondent, Kenneth Lane, is being held in prison on charges of espionage. The State Department denies the charge and has asked for his release.
Uncle Kenneth?
In Bermuda,
Uncle Kenneth.
Kenneth's match has ended in a...
Does Cathy know?
She left the room before Alan Miller got up enough nerve to tell her about it.
Gee, do you want me to tell her?
That's the coward's way out. No, I've got to do it myself. Maybe if I brought it up casually.
Sure, like, guess who's in prison? Or, the funniest thing happened to your father on his way here to spend Christmas with you.
All right, then the only way to do it is to be forthright and just get it over with. Cathy, your father was covering a revolution in Kurdistan, and they're holding him in prison over there.
I know. It says he's safe and unharmed.
That's right, Cathy. He is safe and unharmed. We have a lot to be thankful for. And the State Department will get him out in a week or two. So don't worry.
I'm not worried, Uncle Martin. Father has been in situations like this before. Then it's all right about Christmas? Of course. He'll get here. He always spends Christmas with me.
Well, there must be some way to get through. Try the embassy over there. Tell them it's a priority call. Oh, it's you.
I've heard of calling person to person, but this is ridiculous.
Well, I was trying to get through to our office in Rome. Eddie, look, you keep trying. Call me back when you have something. All right, thanks. I can't get any calls through to Kurdistan.
Maybe the country's closed for the weekend. Is it a big country?
Well, it's big enough to have a prison.
Why does your brother have to be such an adventurer?
Well, it takes after me. I mean, that's the way I'd be if I weren't married and didn't have a family.
I'm glad you've got us. It kept you out of prison.
Boy, I've been hearing some crazy rumors.
What sort of rumors?
About Uncle Kenneth. Is he in some kind of trouble or something?
Yeah, I'm afraid he is, Ross, but we're trying to get him out of it. Look, does Cathy seem very upset to you?
I don't know. She's kind of quiet. I mean, Cathy's always quiet. She's deep. You know what I mean?
We know what you mean.
Well, this may turn out to be a very rough Christmas for Cathy, so your mother and I would appreciate it if you'd go out of your way to make things easier for her.
Sure. I love Cathy. I wish she was my sister and Patty was my cousin.
No.
I know. It was just a wild dream. Okay, I'll do everything I can.
Thanks, son.
Why do bad things always have to happen to nice people? Why did it have to be Cathy's father?
Kath, you've been sitting there for hours. Why don't you help me hang some mistletoe? There are going to be a lot of boys dropping in tomorrow. No, thank you, Patty. I want to see Father when he walks in. Kath, it's Christmas and your father's not here. It won't be Christmas for another hour. Father enjoys surprising me at the last minute. He's not even in the country. Then he's on his way. He's not on his way. Cathy, please don't do this to yourself. He's in a prison 7,000 miles away. There aren't even any planes flying out of there. I remember one Christmas, when I was 10. Father was in Tibet. I was in London with a governess. I wouldn't go to bed. I got a chair, sat in front of the door. And at 5 minutes of 12, the door opened, and he walked in. He smelled a bit like a yak, and he could only stay an hour. But he was there. He'll be here. You'll see. Cathy, don't look for miracles. Isn't that what Christmas is all about? A miracle.
No word at all?
Mom, what's going to happen to her if he doesn't show up?
I don't know.
I see. What about the fighting? They have. Well, listen, I'll be at home. Now, you call me here if you find out anything. Fine, thank you. It's our Rome office. There's no further news about Kenneth.
Dado, Cathy said one Christmas her father came to see her for just an hour.
So?
What if Uncle Kenneth came tonight for just an hour?
What do you mean?
You and Uncle Kenneth are identical twins.
Your Uncle Kenneth has a mustache.
You could put on a mustache.
And what good would that do?
If Cathy's father walked in that door before midnight, even if it were just for a few minutes, even if he explained that he had to leave again, don't you see? She'd have a miracle.
Oh, Patty, don't be ridiculous.
You said yourself you and Uncle Kenneth were always fooling people.
Well, we were a lot younger then. We could get away with murder. I remember there was a girl in our biology class, Harriet Olson. She hated me for some reason, but she was crazy about Ken. One night he had a date with her and he couldn't keep it, so I kept it for him. She didn't even know the difference. We had a wonderful time. Next day she hated me again.
This might work, Martin?
Well, this is different. I mean, I could never convince Cathy that I'm her own father.
Not even for an hour? You could tell her that you have to take the next plane back to Kurdistan, and before she knows what's hit her, you've gone.
Well, who got me out of jail and flew me over here? Friendly Martians?
You could tell her that the rebel general was a friend of yours and let you escape.
And an old Air Force buddy gave you a lift to New York.
Well, you mean like this? You see, Cathy, this old Air Force buddy of... no, wait a minute now. You see, Cathy, this
He calls her Kit Kat.
Oh, yeah. You see, Kit Kat, this old Air Force buddy of mine flew me over here after I broke out of jail. Oh, boy. Cathy is too bright a girl to believe that. Now, it's out of the question.
Oh, you couldn't do it for a long period of time, but for an hour? She wants to believe so much, she wouldn't even question it.
Well, where am I supposed to be all this time?
Down at the newspaper office.
Will you try it?
No, I...
Oh, Martin, it'll break her heart if he doesn't come through that door before 12 o'clock.
What do you say?
Oh, I say... Where the devil am I going to find a mustache at 11:30 on Christmas Eve?
It's 12:15.
Maybe Daddy couldn't find a mustache. That's him. He made it. I hope it works.
It has to.
Father's here.
Is this the Lane residence?
Oh, Daddy.
Merry Christmas, Kit Kat.
Hi, Uncle Kenneth. We knew you'd make it.
Hey, Patty. You've grown into a real beauty.
Hello, Kenneth. Welcome.
Hi, Nat. You look marvelous.
So do you. Well, come on in.
We were so afraid you wouldn't get away.
Yeah, well, I was a little worried about it myself, but I had a bit of the Lane luck, and here I am.
I'll bet the rebel general turned out to be a pal of yours and helped you escape.
Yeah.
And an old Air Force buddy gave you a lift to New York?
No.
No?
I was an old Navy buddy, Admiral Thompson. He got me a ride here in a Navy jet.
An admiral helped you?
Yeah.
I knew nothing could keep you away.
You know what really got me out of that prison, Kit Kat? The thought of you sitting here waiting for me.
You must be starved. I've made some sandwiches.
And after you eat, we'll open our presents.
And then we'll drink a toast.
And then I'll show you Cathy's in my room.
And then I guess it'll be time for you to leave.
Who's leaving? I just got here. Natalie, you feeling all right?
Yes. Are you?
I'm fine, I think. Where's Martin?
He had to go to the office.
On Christmas Eve? That's what he gets for being a managing editor. Well, why don't we phone him there?
No! No.
Why not?
He's probably not there yet. He had to make a lot of stops on the way.
Oh. Oh, say, that's a very nice tree you have there. I could see your handiwork in that, Kit Kat.
We all worked on it.
Where's Ross?
He wanted to wait up for you, but he finally fell asleep.
Why don't we try to wake him?
I wouldn't do that. He's...
I think he's my nephew. I'd like to see him. Come on, Kat. Ross! Ross! Hey, Ross! Merry Christmas, old buddy. Come on down.
Uncle Kenneth!
How's my nephew?
Gee, you look just like my dad. Ouch! What is that? Nothing.
Oh, that reminds me. I'll go get the sandwiches.
Don't bother. I had a bite on the plane.
You should put something in your mouth. I mean, you should eat something.
Well, there's no hurry. Let me look around. It's a nice place.
I can't believe you're really here. I was so worried when I heard you were in prison. Was it very bad?
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about it.
It was a ball. Guards and I played chess all the time. They were all old friends. Some of them were old friends?
Patty, why don't you take your Uncle Kenneth up and show him Cathy's in your room?
I'll be right back, Kit Kat.
Doesn't Father look wonderful?
Well, he may seem a little changed. I mean, an experience like he's just gone through could do that.
He seems exactly the same.
He does? Oh, I'm glad.
It's a nice room, Patty.
Well, you're really doing great. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. I'm proud of you, too.
Where'd you get that tie? Never mind. Listen, you really threw us a curve with that Admiral bit.
Admiral Thompson?
Yeah. Maybe you better cool it a little. Cathy's pretty smart. The only way this is gonna work is if we play in and out Finnegan.
In and out Finnegan.
That's it. The trick is to keep moving. Now, we'll give it a couple of more minutes, and then we'll go down and open the presents. Okay?
Merry Christmas, Kit Kat. I'm here. Are you surprised to see me, Kit Kat?
I'm going back to bed.
Say, it's great to see you, nephew.
Gee, you look just like Uncle Kenneth.
Natalie, gee, you look great. Why, you haven't changed a bit.
Neither of you. Did you have a nice trip?
Well, I want to tell you, it was pretty exciting.
How did you get here?
Oh, well, luckily, the rebel general was an old chum of mine, it turned out.
That was lucky.
Yeah, and he smuggled me out of prison, shooting going on all around.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and then I ran into an old buddy of mine from the Air Force, and he had me flown over here.
Not a Navy admiral?
No. Air Force.
Oh, that's close enough.
How long can you stay, Uncle Kenneth?
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Ross. I have some bad news for you there.
You have to fly right back.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they're holding a plane for me at the airport right now.
But you just got here.
Yeah, I know.
You just came to keep your promise to be with me at Christmas.
That's right, Kit Kat. I'll be able to come back to you in a few weeks.
I think I'm going to cry.
Well, there's no reason to cry. I want you to be happy.
I am. That's why I'm crying. I love you.
So do I. You're quite a fella.
Oh, thanks, Natalie. Say, by the way, where's Martin?
Boy, that's a good question.
I believe he had to go to the newspaper office.
On Christmas Eve? That's what he gets for being managing editor.
Did you bring me something edible?
What?
Something edible from Turkey.
Oh, no, I haven't had a chance to do any shopping. Yeah, what with the revolution being in jail. But as soon as I get back over there, I'll send you something.
You're one of the two nicest Christmas presents I've ever had.
Oh, thanks, Kit Kat. What was the other one?
You see.
Well, listen, why don't we all have some sandwiches, and then we can open the Christmas presents, and, gee, then I'm afraid I'm going to have to rush, because they're holding a plane. Why don't you tell them General Mazim is an old buddy of yours? Well, now, I'm afraid that, that's me.
Oh, Uncle Kenneth. Welcome.
I don't feel well.
All you need is a scorecard, Ross. Hello, Martin. You look terrible in that mustache. Hello, Ken. You made it. Twice from the looks of things. How in the world did you get here? Well, let's not go into that again. What did you think you were doing? Well, nothing.
He was playing Santa Claus. Cathy, I think we are the two greatest fathers in the whole wide world. So do I.
Do you mean to tell me that you knew Kenneth was here all the time and you stood there and let me
You were magnificent.
I think this is the happiest Christmas of my whole life. I hope it's not another one.
J.R.
Martin, if you are masquerading as Santa Claus, you have no talent for it. It calls for a long white beard and a red suit.
Well, I know.
Then why are you hiding behind that scraggly bush?
I'm not hiding.
He was pretending to be my father.
Nonsense. There isn't the faintest resemblance. Couldn't fool a goat.
Well, you'd be surprised at what we used to get away with, Johnny.
Kenneth, I heard you had come back. I didn't believe it.
Well, you know I lead a charmed life.
I couldn't believe you had nerve enough to face me. I came here to find out for myself.
Didn't you get my cable?
If you mean the one from Brussels, no.
Brussels?
Where you were assigned to cover the trade conference.
Let's discuss this later, J.R.
You mean to say you haven't told him yet?
Told me what?
JR, in 60 seconds, it's going to be Christmas.
I'm not responsible for that. Martin has something to tell you.
You're going to give Father a bonus. I don't think so.
Tell him, Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken, but you're fired. Fired?
You can't fire him. It's Christmas.
So it is. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Did you hear that? That's terrible. Imagine firing someone on Christmas. He wouldn't do that. Or would he? Is J.R. Castle going to turn out to be the rat of the Western world? Tune in next week and we'll all find out. Bye. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Of artillery and a bicycle.
A bicycle?
Yeah. How was your Christmas?
Don't ask. Boy, it's grim around here. Every time you open your mouth, somebody tries to snap your head off.
Why?
My Uncle Kenneth flew in from Europe. He's a foreign correspondent. He works for my dad's paper. Well, a publisher, old J.R. Monster Castle, fired him.
At Christmas time?
Yeah. J.R. stands for just rotten. Come on, let's get out of here.
What's all that?
My Christmas presents. I'm gonna do a little trading.
Coffee?
Yeah, thanks. Where is everybody?
Well, Ross is out trading his Christmas presents. Patty and Cathy are in their room cooking up diabolical plots against J.R. Castle, and Kenneth is asleep.
Poor Ken. It's not going to feel much like celebrating New Year's Eve this year.
Neither am I. I think it's inexcusable for J.R. to have fired your brother at Christmas.
It's his newspaper. He can do as he likes with it.
It's his newspaper, but it's my father. I'm not going to let Mr. Castle get away with it, Patty. How are you going to stop him? He's already done it. Father loves being a foreign correspondent for the Chronicle. It's been his whole life. Papa says your dad can go to work on any newspaper in New York. If he wanted to be cooped up in an office, he'd hate that. He may have to get used to it. Not if we use our imaginations. We have to think of something that will make Mr. Castle hire Father again. Cathy, you don't know J.R. like I do. He makes Scrooge look like Santa Claus. I know one way to get him. He's very susceptible to flattery. What is there to flatter him about? What difference does it make? Tell him what a great publisher he is. He'll eat that up. If he were a great publisher, he would have given Father a bonus for what he did instead of firing him. A little soft soap can wash away a lot of problems. I could never flatter Mr. Castle. I would choke on the words.
Morning, J.R.
Good morning, Martin. I thought I'd pick you up so that we could ride over to the UN conference together.
All right.
J.R. is here, man your battle stations.
Meet Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar.
Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning. Coffee?
Yes, thank you.
Cream?
No.
Sugar?
No. Very good coffee, Natalie.
If I'd known you were coming, I'd have prepared it differently.
Sarcasm does not become you, Natalie.
I'm sorry. It's just that when I see a fine newspaper man like Kenneth fired because he used some imagination and went out and got a great story,
Kenneth left his assignment without permission. Illegally entered a country in the middle of a revolution, got the paper in trouble with the State Department.
J.R., why don't you take him back?
Tell her, Martin.
It's a fixed policy of the Chronicle. When a man has been fired, he's never rehired.
That's ridiculous.
Natalie, you keep making coffee and I'll keep running my newspaper.
Excuse me.
She seems disturbed.
She can't stand anyone making a fuss over her coffee. I'll get my notes.
Good morning, Mr. Castle. Good morning, Mr. Castle. Good morning, Mr. Castle.
Good morning, Cathy.
May I speak with you a moment?
Are you also planning to tell me how to run my newspaper?
Oh, I don't think anyone could tell you how to do that, Mr. Castle. You're the greatest publisher in the world.
Who said so?
Father. He's always saying that.
You never said it to me.
I think perhaps Father's a bit afraid of you.
Kenneth Lane afraid of me? He doesn't act that way. Why, he's the most
That's because you make him nervous. See, he thinks of you as being on a high pinnacle.
He said that?
Often. He says the only real newspaper publisher left in the business is J.R. Castle.
Is that so? I always thought he referred to me as Old Sour Lips.
Old Sour Lips? Old Printer's Ink, he always called you.
He did?
Oh, yes. He always says he could never work for anyone else. Where else would he find a warm, sympathetic genius like J.R. Castle to work for?
Young lady, I can't tell you what an impression this little talk has made on me.
Has it?
Indeed it has.
I'm ready, J.R. Oh, Cathy, would you give your father a message for me?
I'd like to hear that.
Certainly, Uncle Martin.
Just tell him I'll have lunch with him at 1 o'clock.
If she gives her father that message, you're going to be dining alone. And you can give your uncle a message for me, young lady. You tell him Old Sour Lips says he's still fired.
Boy, what a wuzza.
What's a wuzza?
J.R. Castle. You should have seen the deep freeze he just gave me.
You should see the deep freeze he just gave me. And besides, there's nothing we can do about it.
About what?
About that wuzza.
Yes, there is. When someone attacks my cousin Cathy, they're attacking me. Old Sour Lips isn't dealing with kids, you know.
Your father's going to do everything he can to see that Uncle Kenneth gets his job back.
I have a feeling that isn't enough, Mamo. It's going to take something diabolical.
Such as what?
I could get all my friends to cancel their subscriptions. That's 3 subscriptions.
Don't wreck the newspaper. Your father's still the editor. Why don't you stop worrying about it, Patty?
No. There must be a way to get to him. We have to find J.R.'s Achilles heel, that's all.
And then?
Hey, look at this. Rebel troops seize Kurdistan. General Mazim overthrows dictator. I always knew old Muzzy could do it. He's a good man. I spent a lot of time with him at his headquarters when he was hiding out in the mountains. I really got to know him.
Perhaps if you told that to Mr. Castle.
That old Sour Lips? No, I don't need him. I can always get a job.
A desk job?
Oh, what's the matter with that?
You always said that a good newspaper man went out where the news was made, and that the hacks stayed in the offices and put captions on history.
Did I say that? I was lying. Now, that's all behind me now, Kit Kat. It'll be interesting working at a desk.
Will it?
Of course. It means that you and I can be together.
That part of it would be wonderful. But if you were a foreign correspondent again, we'd be together anyway after I finished school.
Now, I want you to stop worrying about it, honey. I mean, I'm going to enjoy settling down. We'll move into an apartment of our own. Maybe we can find a place down in the village. Now, have regular hours, 9 to 5. Get 2-week vacation every year. We'll go back to the scenes of our crimes. Paris, Switzerland, Nairobi, Istanbul.
In 2 weeks?
It'll work out fine. You'll see.
I'll come back for your tray. He'd be miserable at a desk job, Patty. He could go to work as a foreign correspondent on another newspaper. He loves the Chronicle. I think it hurt him very deeply when Mr. Castle fired him. He's very proud. Working for another newspaper isn't going to ease that hurt. Perhaps if I talked to Mr. Castle. You already did. What? I already did. Forget it. Old Castle's got a moat around him. You couldn't shake him loose with a... Yes, you could. Cathy, I know what to do. We fix one little detail, and J.R. has to hire your father back. What's the one little detail? Your father has to write a bestseller. What? It's J.R.'s Achilles heel. He's always bragging about my men who have stormed the citadel of the literary world and written best-selling books. The influence of working under a good newspaper publisher can't be emphasized enough. But Father's never written a book. So what? He's the best foreign correspondent in the business, right? Right. He's had all kinds of fantastic adventures, right? Right. Last night he kept us fascinated for hours just telling us of a few of his experiences. All he has to do is put it down on paper. He'll be so famous, J.R. will come crawling to him to get him back. He could write about the time he had breakfast in the kitchen with the Prime Minister. Or about the crap game with the Shah where 20 wives changed hands. Or the time you escaped from the tribe of nomads in Tibet. It could be a great book, Father.
Yeah, but I've never written a book, Kit Kat. I'm afraid
I know you could do it, Uncle Kenneth.
Listen, there's a big difference between being a reporter and sitting down and writing your memoirs.
Will you try?
Well, I suppose I could try.
We've done it again. You can work upstairs. We'll move in a desk for you and some writing tablets and pencils and a typewriter. And we'll be very quiet. I can't believe it. We have a best-selling author in the family. There. Beautiful. If I were a writer, my mouth would be watering. He can start right away. Boy, wait till old Sour Lips hears about this. The next step is to get the book published. It hasn't been written yet. You know your trouble. You worry too much about details. Let's get ready. Where are we going? To see an old buddy of mine. Who? The biggest publisher in the business, Bennett Blake. We'd like to see Mr. Bennett Blake, please.
You have an appointment.
We don't need an appointment. We're bringing him a bestseller.
I see. Your name, please?
Just tell him Patty Lane and Cathy Lane.
There are 2 young ladies here to see you, Mr. Blake. Cathy Lane and Patty Lane.
Patty Lane and Cathy Lane? It certainly is lucky you're knowing Mr. Blake. Where do you know him from? I saw him interviewed on a TV show once. You saw him in... Let's get out of here. Don't be silly. We're doing him a favor. How often does a bestseller come along?
No, they don't have an appointment, but they're bringing you a bestseller.
That's even better than an appointment, isn't it? Send them in.
This way, ladies.
Good morning, ladies.
You're Bennett Blake.
Whom are you expecting? My secretary tells me that you've brought a bestseller.
We didn't exactly bring it. It's at home being written.
Oh, it's an unwritten bestseller. Which one of you is the author?
Neither of us. It's being written by my father.
I take it this is his first book.
Yes, it is.
And you're here to get a publication contract and a big advance, right?
How did you know?
Because I have a file full of letters from people who want the same thing. I'm afraid there isn't much point in this, ladies.
But you haven't heard about Father's book yet.
Don't. You look like nice girls. Let me give you some advice. There isn't any publisher that'll give an unpublished writer a contract for a book without a complete outline and at least 2 chapters written.
But Uncle Kenneth's book is going to be a great book.
I wish Uncle Kenneth luck.
All right. We'll just have to take foreign correspondent to another publisher.
Do that. Now I'll read it when it comes out.
You'll find it on the bestseller list. Foreign Correspondent by Kenneth Lane. Come on, Cathy. Bye.
Wait. What did you say?
I knew the title would get you.
Never mind the title. Are you talking about Kenneth Lane of the Chronicle?
Yes.
Oh, why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask us. Do you know, Father?
Everybody knows your father. I've been after Ken for years to do a book.
You have?
So he finally made up his mind. Well, I can't tell you how delighted I am. And he couldn't have sent two lovelier emissaries.
He didn't exactly send...
Rosalie, have a contract drawn up. Yes. Non-fiction. Title, Foreign Correspondent. Author, Kenneth Lane. Maximum advance. Yes. Delivery, 3 months?
I don't know if... Sure, that'll be plenty of time.
3 months, yes.
Just a minute. Come on in, honey.
How's it going?
Oh, fine. You know, it's always takes a little time for these things to get rolling.
I'm eager to read it. It's wonderful the way you've locked yourself in here. You've been working constantly. I'll bet you have a lot written.
Cathy, you remember I said I didn't think I could write this book?
And you were wrong, weren't you? Patty and I have a surprise for you. We got you a contract for your book with Bennett Blake.
You didn't.
Yes, we did. He was thrilled.
I have a little surprise for you. When the contract comes, you can put it right in there.
Father really tried to write that book, Patty, but it's against all his newspaper training. He said he couldn't get past the title.
All right, so we don't have a great author in the family. What's our next false move?
I think it's too late. He made an appointment to see about a job on another newspaper. He can't do that. He belongs on the Chronicle. I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. He's doing it for me.
Boy, that's when parents are the worst, when they're doing it for you. You know something, cousin? It took a miracle to get your father over here for Christmas. It's going to take another miracle to get him back.
Martin.
Yeah, what is it, J.R.?
Where's Kenneth?
Kenneth who?
Your brother, Kenneth.
Oh, that Kenneth. Well, I think he's probably still at home. Why?
Well, he's too good a man to be sitting at home. You tell him to get his bags packed and take a plane for Kurdistan tonight.
You serious?
Do I seem to be filled with irrepressible levity? Get your brother on a plane tonight.
Kenneth doesn't work for the Chronicle any longer. You fired him.
Oh, that was merely a gesture of protest against his flaunting of authority. Why, Kenneth is the best foreign correspondent in the field. He knows I wouldn't fire him.
He does. Somehow I can't see you as a Santa Claus, J.R. Now, why don't you tell me what's going on?
Well, we just got this telegram. It seems General Mazim is willing to give an exclusive story on the inside of the revolution to
Ken.
Yes. It seems that while General Mazim was hiding out in the mountains, he and Kenneth became fast friends.
Well, well. So by disobeying your orders, Ken pulled off the story of the year.
Well, we won't go into that now.
No.
Of course, all the other papers and press services are after this story.
Of course.
But we are not going to let it get away from us. This is a top story. Top general flees army, hides in mountains, and overthrows government. This is the sort of thing that Pulitzer Prizes are made of. You tell that to Kenneth.
You tell it to him.
What?
You fired him. You rehire him. I'll see if he's upstairs.
But Martin, he's your brother. Don't you want to break the good news to him?
No.
Hello, Patty.
No, I'm Cathy.
I'm too wise a fox to be caught twice in the same trap. I've come to see your uncle.
Isn't he at the newspaper office?
What would he be doing at the newspaper office?
He works there.
You're talking about your father. I'm talking about your
Hi
uncle.
there, Mr. Castle. Is Popo here?
I detest this sort of chicanery.
Chicanery?
She's Patty.
Yes, I know. I told you.
You deliberately pretended to be you so that I would think it was her, and it didn't work.
Hello, J.R. Martin said you wanted to see me.
Kenneth, old boy, good to see you. You've been quite a stranger. I mean to say your paid vacation has done you the world of good. He looks fit, doesn't he, Martin?
Oh, yes, fit. What paid vacation?
Tell him, Martin.
J.R. is trying to ask you to come back to the Chronicle, Ken.
Oh, Father. I knew he could do it.
Well, I appreciate that, Johnny, but I've decided to take another job.
That's ridiculous. What sort of job?
It's a job on a city desk. That way I can be with Cathy.
Cathy and I have been working our heads off to get you back to Europe.
What?
It's true. That's why we wanted you to write that book. You belong over there, Father, doing what you do best.
General Mazim's waiting to give you an exclusive on the revolution.
And there'll be a small bonus.
A big bonus.
Big bonus?
I don't know what to say, Kit Kat. I hate the idea of leaving you again.
It will only be for a little while. I'll come over and see you this summer. Next year I'll be graduated and we can be together again.
Well, it's just that, see, I had planned... Just say yes, Ken. All right. Cable the General not to talk to anyone till I get over there.
Oh, thank you, Kenneth. Good man. Natalie?
If it won't affect my husband's job, I would prefer not to speak with you.
Natalie?
I mean it. I think he's treated Kenneth shamefully. Kenneth should be back working for the Chronicle.
Aunt Natalie?
And you've overlooked something. He knows General Mazim. He could get a great story on the revolution.
Natalie...
No, leave her alone. I think Natalie has a point here. Natalie, why don't you and I go out in the kitchen and drink a cup of your great coffee while Kenneth packs his bag?
I put in some vitamins for you. You'll be sure to get plenty of rest.
I promise, Kit Kat.
And you wear the new sweater I bought you? The nights are awfully cold over there this time of year.
Right. Anything else?
Just please take care of yourself.
I will. For both of us. I'll write you as soon as I can.
Mr. Kenneth Lane?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. Your plane will be ready for departure immediately.
Oh.
Flight 607, now boarding at gate 17.
That's you, Ken.
Don't worry, Uncle Kenneth. We'll take good care of her for you.
Oh, I know you will.
If you get a chance, I wish you'd take another crack at that book, Uncle Kenneth.
Oh, that's not for me, honey. Well, Happy New Year. Martin.
Will passengers on flight 607 please board now?
Happy New Year, honey.
Fly the plane well, Daddy. Happy New Year. I love you.
I love you.
Happy New Year, darling.
We made it through another one. Cathy. Ready, Patty. Let's get the new year on the road.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two.
The answer is no. It is more blessed to give than to receive. I only need $5. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. $5 is a lot of money, Patty. It's Mom's birthday Saturday, and I haven't got a dime. You know how the family is about us buying birthday presents with our own money. Why did you spend the money on that sweater? I never could resist bulky knits. Huh? Sorry. Good morning, Aunt Natalie. Uncle Martin. Ross.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning, Cathy. Patty?
Hi, group. Listen to your horoscope, Patty. It says you're wicked, stubborn, and hate animals and children.
It does not.
Let me see that.
Where did you get this? I traded it for 2 comic books.
You got taken.
Listen to what it says about you, Papa. You're a Virgo.
I am?
You're incompatible with Sagittarius, Gemini, and Pisces. Mom, you were born...
I'm a Pisces.
Now she tells us. And all these years we thought we were happily married. According to the stars, we were miserable and didn't even know it. Well, I better get going. I have an editorial meeting this morning.
Today's the 16th. It says here Virgos mustn't drive today, not before 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm afraid the meeting won't wait that long. And even us Virgos have to make a living. Bye-bye.
Bye, dear.
Bye, Dad. Listen to this. Because of the conjunction of Uranus and Venus in the early hours of the day, care should be taken to avoid automobile accidents.
That's a lot of silly superstition.
Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day. Where Cathy adores a minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette. Our Patty loves to rock and roll, a hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet, still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are 2 of a kind.
Does that feel better, darling?
Natalie, I wish you'd stop making a fuss over me. I mean, it's just a little bump. Ooh. That idiot pulled out from the curb without even looking. And he dented the whole side.
Oh, can I see it?
The side of my car.
Perhaps you shouldn't go to the office today, Martin.
Of course I'm going to the office today.
Papa, it says here that...
I don't want to hear it.
It really seemed to work. It warned you.
Now, don't start that again. It's a lot of superstitious nonsense.
That's just what I was saying, but be extra careful today, will you, Martin?
Wouldn't it be wild if this really worked?
Don't you think that if the people who wrote these books knew everything that was going to happen, they wouldn't have to write these books? Excuse me.
Hey, I'm taking a history test today. Would that thing tell me whether I'd pass or not?
How do I know? I don't do this for a living. I just... Got an idea how to get Mom's birthday present. You're not really serious about this, are you, Patty? Of course I am. Everybody's interested in astrology. There's a fortune in fortune-telling. But you're not a fortune-teller. I am with the help of this book. And who's going to pay you for a reading? I'll show you, cousin. Here's my first customer. Susan? When do we go to her birthday party? In November. Right, November 3rd. She's a Scorpio. Boy, is she in trouble. Hi, Patty. Hi, Cathy. Are things better between you and Alan? Has he been talking to you? That rat. And they say girls can't keep a secret. He hasn't talked to me. I haven't seen him in a week. And then who told you? How you feeling? How'd you know I had a sore throat? Mercury is very strongly chart this month. You have to watch your health. By the way, why don't you wear your new dress tomorrow? You're gonna meet a dreamboat. I am? Well, how do you know? Sorry, I have to go now. Hey, wait a minute. If you want a reading, I'm available every day, 4 to 6, 25 cents. Bye. Hey, what's with her? I'm not sure, but I think she's planning to replace Nostradamus. Boy, are the Gemini's in trouble. What are you doing? Playing polo.
Where'd you get all these books and charts?
The library. Do you know? I memorized the whole zodiac chart.
I need some advice.
From your sister or from the stars?
From the stars.
That'll cost you 25 cents.
Boy, you fortune tellers are murder. Okay.
What's the problem?
Well, I'm going out for Little League Baseball. There are only 2 positions left open, pitcher and catcher. I was going out for pitcher, but Scotty Sheldon's going out for that, and he's pretty tough competition.
So you're asking the stars if you should try for pitcher or catcher. All right. You're Taurus.
Taurus?
The book.
Is that good or bad?
Here we are. Taurus. You are sophisticated, a good administrator, and have inflexibility of purpose.
Gee, that sounds like I'd make a great pitcher.
You are a faithful husband, but there is violence in you.
All I asked was whether I should pitch or catch.
When do you have to make your decision?
Friday.
Friday. That's the 19th. Taurus, the 19th. You are standing at the crossroads.
That's me, all right.
But don't be swayed by deceptive influences. Strike out with all your might. Strike out. Sounds like you're going to be a pitcher.
Gee, I don't know how to thank you, Patty.
If you're a satisfied customer, send your friends around. Bye.
Hi, Patty. Are you busy?
Hi, Sue. What are you doing here? Sit down.
Can you really read fortunes?
So far, I saved one man's life and another man's career. Tell me your problem.
Well,
don't be nervous. Stars and I are your friends.
Alan and I have been going together for 6 months, see? And last week I found out while I was at my aunt's house, he was out someplace else doing something else, and I don't know what it was.
Anybody home?
In here, Martin. Are you feeling better, darling?
If you're referring to that little bump on the head this morning, it was nothing. Hello? Who? I don't know. Just a minute. Is Richard here?
He's upstairs with Patty.
Yeah, just a minute. Oh, hello, Richard. This call is for you. Don't mention it. You know, those kids are never off of that phone. I tried to call here for 2 hours this afternoon.
I told Fran about your accident this morning, and she said that a fortune teller told her not to take a train, and the next day there was a terrible train accident.
Natalie, coincidences happen a dozen times a minute.
I know.
Still, was odd.
Boy, you sure are lucky to have a daughter like Patty. With her advising you, nothing can go wrong. Well, gotta go.
Richard, just a minute. Did Patty read your horoscope?
Did she? She's incredible. She told me an aunt of mine from the north would be coming to visit me to give me some money.
And you really believe it?
Well,
Richard, does it seem even remotely logical to you that dead pieces of matter floating around in space millions of light years away from the Earth could possibly have any effect on your daily activities?
Well,
Use your common sense, boy. Now listen, if what Patty told you was true, that would mean that all the thousands of people who were born at the same time as you would now be rushing home because a rich aunt from the north was coming down to bring them some money.
Well...
Now, doesn't that seem ridiculous?
Certainly sounds ridiculous. Well, gotta run. Mom just called to say that my rich aunt just got in from Canada, and she wants to see me right away. Bye.
You know, Patty is just amazing. This is my third reading. She told me I was going to meet this dreamboat, and I did. Well, now I stopped seeing Alan.
I was going to be a nurse, but not anymore. My stars say I'm going to be a model.
You can go in now. Did she tell you anything?
She just changed my whole life.
What'd you say?
Well, you know how everyone laughs at me because I'm so clumsy and I'm always dropping things?
Yeah.
Patty says I'm going to be a brain surgeon.
What's going on here?
Oh, we're waiting for Patty.
You mean you're all lined up here to see the soothsayer of Brooklyn Heights?
She's in her salon.
Her...
Scorpios face a restless week under the influence of Neptune. The only place in the world where things are good for Scorpios is Australia. If you can't go there, the next best thing is to stay in your room.
I will.
I have a patient.
Forgive me for interrupting. I'd like to speak to you if the stars don't mind.
Would you excuse me, please, Phyllis?
Sure.
Phyllis? Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Patty, are you taking money for this?
Why not? I'm getting paid for a service.
Well, I'll tell you why not. In the first place, there happens to be a law against fortune-telling.
I'm not telling fortunes. I'm reading charts.
The term fortune-telling includes reading charts, reading palms, phrenology.
What's that?
Phrenology is the art of telling fortunes by feeling the bumps on people's heads.
That's ridiculous. Look, Papa, I studied all these books and charts. I know what influences people's lives.
But, Patty, there is nothing to this stuff.
You're always telling me you want me to think for myself. Are you telling me now that because you don't believe in astrology, I can't believe in it?
Well, I didn't say exactly that. I mean, I want you to find out things for yourself.
Then I can go on giving readings?
Well, all right. If these kids are silly enough to listen to you, I suppose it serves them right. But you are not to charge them anymore.
Oh, but...
And that's final.
You've just converted me from a profitable, thriving business to a non-profit charitable organization.
Couldn't have phrased that better myself. Say hello to the stars for me.
Don't catch cold. Done it again. First I predicted Papa's accident. Then Susan's new boyfriend, Richard's aunt. I'm incredible.
And it has nothing to do with the stars.
Well, I must have something. These kids aren't paying me their hard-earned money for nothing.
Not anymore, they're not. Your father put a stop to it.
No, he didn't. He said, All he said was I couldn't charge any money. I'm not going to. From now on, my readings are free. But if anybody wants to make a contribution, I'm not going to fight it. I need your help. No. All I need is $3 more to get Mom's birthday present. If you help me get it, I'll give up astrology. Is that a promise? I wouldn't lie to you. Saturn's in conjunction with Mars. You look great, Kath. I feel ridiculous. Why does it have to be 2 of you? Because the money will come in twice as fast. I have it all worked out. With 2 of us operating, we'll be able to close up shop by tonight. Next, this way, please. Enter and be seated. Next, could you step this way, please? Oh, hi, Patty. I thought you were in the other room. Hi, Sue. Sit down. Boy, have I got a problem. You told me not to see Alan anymore. I did. I did. And Alan asked me to the dance Saturday night. Well, I turned him down because you told me to go with Stanley. Stanley? That dreamy new boy I met. Pisces. Oh, the fish. What's your problem? Stanley hasn't asked me to the Saturday night dance yet. Hey, I'm not going to get stuck without a date, am I? At least I could always count on Alan. Alan is a very nice boy. Why don't you go to the dance with him Saturday? Oh, you told me the stars were against it. He's a Leo. Oh? Maybe I better check it again. Here. According to your chart, the letter A is very lucky for you this week. And Alan is a very nice boy. Oh, then it's all right if I accept the date with him? I would if I were in your shoes. In your stars. Oh, hey, thanks, Patty. I've been going with Alan for 6 months, and, well, I like him very much. I'm glad we're not ill-fated or anything. Well, now, I know you don't charge anything, but here's my voluntary contribution given of my own free will. Bye-bye. Come back anytime. And remember, you'll start to lose the sun-moon opposition next week, and then you can swing out. Oh, you're in here. Oh, hi, Suzo. Sit down. Listen, I forgot to ask you. What do I tell Stanley? What do you tell Stanley about what? Oh, I mean, do I just tell him I'm going to the dance with Alan? You can't go to the dance with Alan. He's a Leo. But you just told me to go to the dance with Alan. Oh, why would I tell you a thing like that? Because his name begins with A. What does that got to do with it? His name begins with A. That's right. Sometimes that can make a difference. You better let me check it again. Here we go with Leo. Leo. Here. Oh, it's all right. It's all right. A is good for Saturday. Oh, but S is better. You better go with Stanley. Is that definite? Absolutely. It's written in the stars. But Stanley hasn't asked me yet. Don't worry, he will. Pisces moves very slowly, but wow. Enjoy the dance Saturday. Thanks, Patty.
The suckers have all gone. There's someone downstairs to see you, old great one.
I think I'll take an astral break. Boy, I'm tired. But it's sure a good feeling to know you've helped people solve their problems. Hi there.
Hello. I'm looking for Miss Patty Lane.
Boy, the word sure spreads. Build a better mousetrap and everyone comes running.
My name is Roberts, detective, 2nd grade.
Detective 2nd grade, huh?
I'm checking on a report that a fortune teller's operating in this neighborhood. I was told you might be able to help me.
As far as I know, there's no real fortune teller in the neighborhood. Can we quit now? I'm exhausted. Why don't you run back upstairs and lie down? Because you and I are going to have a talk, cousin.
That's a very interesting outfit you have on there.
You mean these fortune-telling clothes?
Oh, is that what they call it?
It's a costume for our school play. School play?
What's the name of this school play?
We're doing Fortune Teller by Victor Herbert.
Isn't that so? Oh, that's a favorite of mine. There's a gypsy love song in it. Now, how does it go?
She knows. She's playing the lead. I'm playing the... Yes, now, don't be modest. Why don't you sing the song for Detective Robert, second grade, who's here because someone says there's an illegal fortune teller in the neighborhood? Slumber, my little gypsy sweetheart, dream of the fields and the grove. Can you hear me in that dreamland where your fancies roam?
Well, that's very nice, very nice. Well, I guess I made a mistake.
That's all right. Come back anytime.
What?
Hey, you know that prediction you made?
What address did you want?
Patty, I want...
Oh, you wanted Patty. That's Patty. If you'll excuse me, I have an awful lot of homework to do.
I have sworn that was Patty.
Patty, I think you and I had better have a little chat. Do you mind if I take a look at your room?
It's an awful mess.
I know. You've been rehearsing all afternoon.
All right. We didn't really mean to do anything wrong. We just...
Well, it's a nice room.
Thank you.
Now, you look like nice girls. I don't want you to get into any trouble.
No, sir. If there was ever any fortune telling going on around here, I can promise you it'll never happen again.
I believe you.
Thanks. Isn't there a police fund for widows and orphans?
Yes?
We'd like to make a contribution. Hey! Did you want to say something? Hey! What a good idea.
Well, thank you, but why don't you take it down to the station? I'll be glad to accept it.
Fine. We'll bring it down this afternoon.
Good, good. Oh, would you like some advice?
Yes, sir.
Get rid of all that junk under the bed, huh?
I hope you didn't mind about the money. I thought it was the least we could do.
I guess so. Boy, that was a close call. Never again.
Cathy, listen to my horoscope.
Today is a good day for you to start looking for a different career.
Tomorrow is your mother's birthday, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Cathy told me while you were holding those astrology readings.
Boy, she has a big mouth.
So, I was just thinking if you'd like an advance on your allowance, why, the stores are still open.
Do you mean that?
Yeah.
Thanks, Papa.
Couldn't help myself. It was written in the stars.
Hi, Ross.
Don't speak to me.
What'd I do?
You and your Stars got me off the Little League team. You told me the Stars wanted me to be a pitcher. Well, Scotty Sheldon got it.
Boy, this time you really fixed me.
Me? What'd I do?
I went out and bought a $200 hi-fi set.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I was going to pay for it with the money I got from my rich aunt.
Didn't she give it to you yet?
She came down from Canada to borrow money from us. The store won't take the set back, and I've got to work after school all winter to pay it off.
That's terrible, Richard. Susan? Oh, there you are. Well, I just came to tell you never to talk to me again. What's the matter?
Why don't you ask the stars?
Not in touch anymore.
What happened? Well, you told me to turn Alan down. Well, I did. Well, then I found out Stanley's going with another girl. And now I don't have a date for the Saturday night dance.
Yes, you do. Why don't you go with me?
She can't go with you.
Why not?
Because Aquarius and Gemini don't mix.
Oh, they don't, huh? Well, just watch.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find they laugh alike,
They walk alike,
at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins.
I'd like to do.
You'd like to erupt?
Break out. Seems like it's been miserable out forever. Why don't you read a book? I've read a book. Read one, you've read them all. What are you making? A shift. I could have been a great dress designer, but I flunked sewing. Could never thread a needle. Why they use nervous needles? What's that for? I'm going to trace the design of the cap and see how it will look on the front. And tell you how it'll look. Ghastly. Why don't we go see a movie? Because I want to finish this. What are you going to call it? Catnip? Patty, why don't you go call Richard? I know when I'm not wanted. See you later, cuz. If you told me you needed money for a new dress, I'd have loaned you some. Don't you like this dress? It's catastrophic. Look, this is what the in-group is wearing. Doesn't it make you feel naked wearing something no one else has on? No. Hi, Patty. Hi, Mary. Hi, Cathy. Hello, Miss. Is that a new dress? Yes. It's beautiful. Where'd you buy it? I made it.
Oh, you're putting me on.
No, she really did. Cuckoo, isn't it?
Could you make me one like it?
I'm afraid I sure she could. For $9.95.
It's a deal.
But Hi.
Say, that's wild. Who sells them?
My partner and I. $9.95.
And what do you call it?
Catnip.
Well, could you make me one in red and one in blue?
One red, one blue.
What's going on? Look what I just ordered, and it's only $9.95. How soon could I have one?
Monday.
I'd like it in green.
Our Nile model, 7A.
My folks are taking me to Switzerland next week. Could you mail it over there?
I'll send a memo to our shipping department.
Great.
It's going to the European market, too. Patty, I only have 10 fingers. I can't make dresses. Don't bother me with the details.
Hey, do you have it in yellow?
Any color your little heart desires. That's our model 6D. Girls, now, let's get organized here. What size did you like? Size 5?
Meet Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! But they're cousins, identical cousins all the way. One pair of matching bookends, different as night and day.
Where Cathy adores a minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette.
Our Patty loves to rock and roll, a hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet, still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find they laugh alike,
They walk alike,
at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
orders, and that's just the first day. Partner, it's also the last day. Partner. No wonder you're nervous. A sensitive artist like you on the brink of greatness. Stick to me, and you'll become a dynasty. Stick to you, and I'll become a one-woman sweatshop. Do you know what you're doing? It took me 3 days to make this dress. That means it would take me 129 days to fill those orders that you promised for Monday. Will you calm down and let me explain? Explain what? You don't have any material, you don't have any sewing machines, and you don't have me. You're a creative genius, I'm a business genius. Together, we're gonna build an empire. Based on one little dress? Do you have any idea how many people built careers on just one little thing? Fulton invented one little steamboat. Whitney invented one little cotton gin. The Wright brothers... Patty, you don't know anything about the dress business. I can learn. Papa always says, when you need to know something, go to an expert. There are lots of good designers in this country. Hey, there's a beautiful dress. It's lovely. Gregory Madison. Who's he? One of the most famous designers in the world. That's our man. What are you talking about? You'll see. Operator, I'd like to send a telegram.
Tom.
This just came from the Worldwide Dress Company, Mr. Madison.
Worldwide? Never heard of them. Must be a new firm.
Well, their president and vice president will be in town this afternoon at 4 o'clock. They'd like a meeting with you to discuss a matter of mutual financial interest.
Sounds impressive, huh? You better see the bar is stocked and get plenty of good cigars.
Yes, Mr. Madison.
Oh, are they here?
Yes, sir, but...
Well, don't keep them waiting. Show them in.
Yes, sir.
Talk to you later.
I'm Patty Lane, president of the Worldwide Dress Company. This is my vice president, Cathy Lane.
You're the... and you're the... I'm Greg Madison. That'll be all, Miss Hamlin.
You got our telegram?
The telegram, yeah. Oh, please, sit down. Oh, well, would you care for a drink? Glass of milk?
No, thank you.
Well, what can I do for you?
It's what we can do for you, Mr. Madison. We're here to give you a hand.
Well, it's very kind of you.
You see, we've just gone into business, and we're going to give you a chance to get in on the ground floor.
The ground floor of what?
Our dynasty, if everything goes all right.
Well, let's hope that it will.
We're willing to give you a percentage of our business.
Well, that's very generous of you. But tell me, what have I done to deserve this?
It's what you're going to do, Mr. Madison. You see, my vice president here designed a dress and wore it to school, and now it's selling like there's no tomorrow.
Well, then what's your problem?
Well, we don't have any material to make the dresses to fill our orders, and we don't know where to get it.
Oh, I see.
We were hoping you could send us to your wholesalers.
May I see your designs?
Certainly. It's all right for you to look at it. We've already applied for a patent.
Oh, well, that was wise of you.
This is it.
Well, now, that really is charming. Really charming. You're a very talented young lady.
Aren't we? Do you really like it?
Yes, yes. It does need something. Do you mind?
Not at all.
Now, then, let me see what I can do. Let me show you the famous Madison touch. Little Madison magic here. Whisk broom. Shears. It's amazing what you can do with little things that really have no... There. Take whisk and a little tape and attach thusly. That ought to do it. Now, this will give you a rough idea of what I mean.
That's much better. I love it. We should give you a royalty on... It's very nice, Mr. Madison. Exactly what we had in mind.
Now then, let's see what we will need.
Then you're really going to help us?
I'd love to. But look, don't worry about the percentage. Let me do it for the excitement of helping to found a new dynasty.
That's even better.
One thing, were you planning on using this material?
Yes, I was.
Uh-huh. Well, may I suggest something a little bit heavier? Let's say a denim.
Why didn't I think of that? You would have.
Well, for that, I'll send you to the RC Manufacturing Company. And let's see. We'll need a few of these rhinestones. For that, the Glitter Novelty Company.
Hi, dear.
Hello, darling. Ross?
Hi, Dad.
You look tired. How was your day? A brute?
Did you see any juicy killings or gang holdups?
I'm the managing editor of a newspaper, not one of the untouchables. There was a sign out there in the hall, WWDC.
Patty put it up. It means...
Don't tell me. Let me guess. Women's white dresses cleaned. Why worry desperate centipedes?
Worldwide Dress Company. There's an executive meeting going on in your study. Behind those closed doors are the president, vice president, and board of directors.
In my study?
Patty's the president. She's going into business.
She's gonna be a typhoon.
No, dear. A typhoon is a big wind.
That's close enough.
I think it'll be very good for her, darling. It'll give her a sense of responsibility.
Now, you and Craig make the deals and handle the business end of it. We'll sell the dresses for $10. Labor and material come to $6. That means we make $4 on every dress.
For every 100 dresses we sell, we make $400. And for every 1,000 dresses we sell, we'll make $4,000. And every 10,000 dresses we sell, we'll make $40,000. We're rich!
Now, all the department stores have teenage shops. They'll be glad to do business with us.
Patty, it takes money to go into business.
No, it doesn't. My new silent partner gave me a letter to his wholesalers. We can get everything we need on credit. What's the first step? You mean, what's the first step? What kind of a question is that? It's obvious. Wait. What's our first step?
Well, you can't start manufacturing until you know how many orders you have to fill. The first thing you do is get your orders, buy the material, hire labor, and make the amount of dresses you sold.
See? I told you it was obvious. I know who our first customer is going to be. Stan Brooke Department Store. Cathy, how long will it take you to make 10 more of those dresses? Me? You said we were going to set up a factory. Well, that comes later. I need 10 of those dresses right away. How's it going? All right. Gee, I wish I had your talent. See you later. Well, they're racing right along, aren't they? Yes, aren't they? I'll stick with it. Zip, zip, zip. Good old American know-how. I'd give anything if I could do that. Come on, see you after the movie.
Your catnip dress. It's very original.
Our sales department is swamped with orders, but we'd like to help you out as much as we can.
I don't know if we could commit ourselves to an order from a firm that's had no manufacturing experience.
Call Gregory Madison.
Gregory Madison?
He's sort of our silent partner. We already have 70 orders from our school alone. And they're very inexpensive. We can supply them to you for only $9.95.
All right. Call off your clack. I'm convinced. If you can guarantee delivery, I'll give you an order for one.
One? Frankly, Miss Mason, with a product as outstanding as ours, we had hoped for a little larger order.
We don't like to plunge on any item till we've had a chance to test it. How soon could we expect delivery?
Would 6 o'clock be all right?
Well, we're not in that much of a hurry. Let's make the delivery date Friday, and I'll increase the order to 2 on a consignment basis.
But that will be fine, Miss Mason. Thank you.
All right, that's Friday, the 17th, on consignment, 2 gross. There you are.
Thanks a lot. Did she say 2 gross? That's what she said. Do you know how many dresses that is? How many dresses is it? 288 dresses. And you promised them by Friday. That's only 3 days away. We've got to cancel that order. Oh, we can't do that. We'll be out of business before we begin. What are we going to do? Use good old American know-how. RC Manufacturing Company? This is Patty Lane, president of the Worldwide Dress Company. Yes, I want to order 700 yards of blue Novelty Company. I'd like to order 1,000 rhinestone buttons.
I want to rent 10 sewing machines. You'll have to deliver them this afternoon. I needed about 6 colors. Right. There you are. Right, Craig. Where are you from?
I live here.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Lane. I wasn't expecting you.
I like to drop in from time to time.
Right. Hello, Mr. Lane.
Craig?
How's it going upstairs, Craig? There you are. Pretty busy afternoon.
I can see that. Your trucks have got the whole block tied up.
That's big business.
There. Try it now.
Thanks, Chief.
Oh, Chief. Could I see you for a minute? Cathy. And, Madam President, if you don't mind.
But, Martin, I haven't had this much fun in years.
There is something wrong with all this instant success.
Why? Richard figured out that by the end of the year, we could make $500,000.
Oh, Richard figured that out, huh?
You know how thoughts sweep the country, Uncle Martin. Why, they're like tidal waves.
Well, it's a funny thing about tidal waves. They go out, too.
Gregory said that if you're going to do something, do it big.
Oh, Gregory said that.
Look at this order.
Well, this says on consignment.
What's that?
Patty, are you sure you're ready to be president of a company?
Oh, don't be a big business pooper.
On consignment, young lady, means that if they don't sell the dresses, they can return them to you.
Why shouldn't they sell them? All the girls from school buy there. Sure. We just ordered material for another 200 dresses.
You're right, it is like a tidal wave. Beginning to wish I had an aqualung.
I'll get it. If that's the shipment of boxes, send them up to the East Plant.
East Plant?
That's Ross's room. Martin, I think you ought to do a story on this.
Teenage tycoons' terrified dress trade? Natalie, it's not possible to start a business without experience, assets, or capital.
James Watt started with a teapot and some hot water.
I have a feeling that's what we're going to end up in.
This is Mr. Dobson, my aunt and uncle, Mr. and Mrs. Lane, and our president, Patty.
How do you do?
Hello.
How do you do? I had planned on being here earlier, but there's a terrible traffic jam out there.
That's big business.
Business must be good.
We're having a hard time filling our orders.
Well, that's what we like to hear.
We?
Yes, I'm with the government. Small Business Bureau Division. Now, you're president of the Worldwide Dress Company?
Yes.
You operate from these premises?
Yes.
They just got started.
You have employees on the premises?
Yes, there are 12 of them.
Well, that's a good round number. You two went into business for yourselves, huh?
That's right. They're all on their own.
Well, not entirely on their own. We wouldn't want them to feel neglected. They have a partner.
A partner?
Uncle Sam. Here's some W-4 forms for withholding taxes, unemployment and disability forms for your employees. You'll have 48 hours in which to get a manufacturer's license. You'll need a safety inspector's seal for the premises and a waiver to rezone this house for manufacturing. There hasn't been a residential manufacturer waiver in the last 50 years.
Papa, can they do this to us?
What are you going to do? Fight free enterprise?
I'm going out to mail the dress to Europe now. How much is postage to Switzerland?
And an export license.
For one dress?
Some of our other departments will be calling on you this afternoon. I have a feeling that you're going to be keeping us pretty busy. Well, good luck with your business.
Small business pooper.
It was wonderful of your father to straighten out all that red tape for us.
Sure was. It only took 2 lawyers, an accountant, and a business manager.
The whole industry founded on our brains. It gives you a feeling of power, doesn't it? It gives me a feeling of panic. Richard said you ordered enough material for 300 more dresses.
That's right. We have to be ready for the deluge. Reorders should be coming in any minute. Come on.
Hey, that's darling. I want one with a picture of Johnny on it. Where can I buy it? From me. I'm making them myself.
I want one, too. How much are they?
$8.95. Can I have 2? Sure. I'd like one with Pete and one with Joe. I want one in blue and one in yellow. Great.
Girls. Now, listen, girls, you don't want to buy those dresses. They're practical.
Start really a
Well, what if you change boyfriends?
Well, you gotta hand it to these kids. Give the public what it wants. Hello, Richard. Keep pretty busy, huh?
Yes, sir.
Hey, where's the president and the board of directors?
They're in the living room.
Huh? Counting their money, I presume. Why, I was sure wrong about this group. Well, this is a grim-looking gathering. That just proves that money doesn't bring happiness.
Welcome to Bankrupt Manor. I'm possibly the youngest failure in America.
Bankrupt Manor? What are you talking about?
We got drowned in the tidal wave.
But I saw a lot of trucks out there. They were making deliveries.
They were returning dresses. We've been deconsigned.
What happened?
Someone came up with a newer idea.
Yeah, you know how fickle teenagers are.
What about all that material you had stockpiled?
We went to Mr. Madison about that. He was wonderful. He took it all off our hands.
He couldn't do anything about the finished dresses. They're a little out of his line. Boy, I really washed out.
I'm sorry. It's as much my fault as it is yours.
Well, here are the figures. After we deduct material, labor, and insurance, and balance that against total expenditures, minus capital assets, we have $1.25 left.
Oh, that's not too bad. At least you ended up on the profit side of the ledger.
And on the debit side of the ledger, we're stuck with 25 dresses at a cost of $6 apiece. That's $150 we owe.
And I was going to build an empire.
I should be declared a disaster area.
Honey, you tried. You had an idea and you followed it through. I'm proud of you.
But it didn't work.
Patty, a lot of dreams in life don't work out the way we hope they will. But that doesn't mean we have to stop dreaming.
Then you're not angry with me?
No. Well, you almost accomplished a very rare feat. For a while there, I actually thought you were going to start a business with no assets, no capital, and no experience. That could have set a very dangerous precedent.
I love you, Papa.
Listen now, may I make a suggestion?
We'll take it.
No, I haven't made it yet. I was just thinking, suppose we donate all these dresses to some worthy relief organization. Now, I'd be willing to bear half of the cost if the rest of you will bear the other half. And you can pay me back at the rate of, say, $2 a week.
Do you mean that? That's wonderful, Uncle Martin.
Good. Then it's all settled.
May I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
Let's go spend the assets on some ice cream sodas.
All in favor?
Why don't we go to a movie? I can't this afternoon, Patty. I'm busy.
What are you making?
A hat?
Hey, I like that.
Do you?
I sure do.
Do you know something? Yes. We are going to a movie.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike, they walk alike, at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins.
You do. I saw your report card. You almost failed geometry, young lady. I think it's about time you learned a triangle is not necessarily a situation involving two men and a girl.
Geometry's a big fat drag. Even Cathy's not good at it. She's a brain's brain. Right, Kath? Cathy, what are you reading?
The Françoise Dupart book.
You mean that 16-year-old French girl? She may only be 16, but she's really lived. No wonder it's #1 on the bestseller list.
Good book?
Marvelous, Uncle Martin.
Picture's on the front of one of the magazines around here. Here it is.
Imagine that. Only 16 years old and she's the toast of Paris. It says here, she's a symbol of teenage freedom over there. All the kids are copying her hairstyles. They even named a street after her. No wonder. She just sold her book to the movies for $200,000.
It's wonderful.
I hope they hurry and make the movie. What's the book about? About life, with a capital L, seen through the eyes of a teenage girl. Let me see that. My first dance was an unforgettable experience. Pierre was tall and shy and awkward. He had just learned to drive. It took all my powers of persuasion to get Father to allow Pierre to drive me to the dance. We got into the car and drove off. We had gone only a block when Pierre ran into a car that was turning the corner. In the other car was Father.
Hey, that happened to you when Richard first got his car.
Yeah, I know. I still have the bruises.
This stuff is a bestseller? I can write stuff like this.
You can write stuff like what?
Like this Françoise Dupart. And there's no competition. There are no teenagers writing novels today.
Oh, well, that may be true.
That's why Françoise Dupart's book became a bestseller. Because she's a teenager. Patty, the critics don't care how old you are. It's what you have to say. I have a lot to say. What would you write about? Me. Life with a capital L. I've even got the title. I was a teenager.
Writing requires a great deal of discipline. I mean, it would mean giving up dates, movies.
I need a place to work where I can be completely undisturbed. I know. I'll work in the garret.
The garret?
I think she means the attic. Same thing.
I don't think you can work up there, dear. It's dirty and dusty and a mess.
Gee, that sounds like your room.
Sounds perfect. After all, create, you must suffer. Françoise, move over.
Meet Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins, identical cousins.
as night and day. Where Cathy adores a minuet, the ballet russe, and crepe Suzette.
Our Patty loves to rock and roll, a hot dog makes her lose control. What a wild duet, still they're cousins, identical cousins, and you find they laugh alike,
They walk alike,
at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
Are you sure you want to work up here, Patty? It's going to be awfully uncomfortable.
William Shakespeare never complained.
Alfred and I are going to the movies tonight. Wouldn't you like to join us? Sorry, Kath. When the creative juices flow, you gotta let them go. You're sure you'll be all right up here?
Louisa May Alcott never complained.
Everything I want is right here. If there's anything I can do to help, Patty. Nothing, thank you. Creation is the bird of loneliness. Good luck.
It has nothing to do with luck.
It's pure talent. I was a teenager. By Patty Lane. A teenager. Early one morning, Early one afternoon, early one night.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Mom.
How was school?
Fine. Did a package come for me?
Yes.
It's me. Jenny, I thought of you while I was driving here. Did you, Bernardo? What made you think of me? On the road was a sign that said, soft shoulders. Oh, Bernardo, you have the drollest sense of humor. Hello, Richard.
Where's Patty?
Up in the attic working on her book.
Do you know I've been waiting an hour for her at the bowling alley? That's the third date she's broken in a row.
She probably forgot about it.
That's a fine excuse. Well, she's gonna have to choose. It's either her career or me. Did you say she was up in the attic?
I don't think she wants to be disturbed.
Well, she's gonna be.
Another reason the road reminded me of you, Jenny. You have dangerous curves. Jenny gives a peal of laughter.
What are you laughing at?
Bernardo just said something funny.
Well, where is he?
He's in my book. He has the most marvelous sense of humor.
When are you gonna finish that, Patty? I've been out bowling by myself, and you've been up here laughing by yourself. It doesn't make sense.
It will make sense when my book is finished. I'm going to do for the American teenager what Francoise did for the French teenager.
Well, what did she do for them?
She liberated them. She made the world look at them in a new light.
Well, how long's this liberation gonna take?
What about us? You don't write a bestseller overnight. It might take me another week.
Here's your dinner, Patty. What's the matter? Didn't Louisa May Alcott eat? What happened?
I just murdered Reginald.
Hey, Patty, it's 12 o'clock.
I just have to finish this chapter.
Did you write all that?
That's the prologue.
What are you gonna call it? Gone with the Wind?
I thought I'd let the publisher choose the title.
Honey, you know, it isn't all that easy to get something published. I guess if it were, everybody'd write a book. Well, what I'm trying to say is that I really wouldn't count too much on this if I were you.
Papa, will you be home this Saturday?
Well, I think so. Why?
I'm going to be through with the book by then. Would you read it?
Sure, I'd love to.
Thanks.
Well, all right, you finish up and get to bed, huh? Good night, dear.
Good night, Papa. Did you hear that?
Did I hear what?
Stampede. Stampede. It started, Bernardo. Well?
Patty, you know that I love you very much, don't you?
You hated it.
No, I didn't hate it. There's some good things in it. I just... You want my honest criticism?
Of course.
Well, honey, the first rule of good writing is to choose a subject you know something about.
You mean it didn't seem authentic to you? Why?
For one thing, you've never been a teenage nurse among the Pui Indians in the wilds of the Mato Grosso.
Edgar Rice Burroughs wasn't brought up by a gorilla in Africa. You create with your imagination. Besides, I researched it.
Yeah, well, that's not the same.
Didn't you like the war scenes?
Yes, I did. They were real and vivid and authentic.
Do you mean that?
I certainly do. I felt the same way about them the first time I read them 20 years ago. They made Hemingway famous.
Oh, it may have a Hemingway flavor, but
Yeah, I know. You were just researching.
Well, what about the character of Jenny? She didn't come from Hemingway.
No, I felt she was more like Joan of Arc, only braver.
You hated everything.
No, I didn't. Now, there were some really fine things in there. The things that were all your own, you know? In fact, for instance, the comedy scene was just wonderful.
The comedy scene?
During the big battle. Remember when the enemies were locked in, what was your phrase? In the throes of mortal and deadly anguish with their eyes caught in fierce combat. And then Jenny comes by with her first aid kit, and they take one look at her and stop fighting and start trying to date her.
That wasn't a comedy scene.
I see.
No, but it's to show it to you.
Oh, now, Patty, please,
I'm sorry for taking up your valuable time.
What happened?
Oh, it was a disaster.
Was the book that bad?
It was a combination of Hemingway, Salinger, and Superman, only ungrammatical.
Well, it's easy for everybody to sit back and criticize. But I'll tell you this. There's going to be a lot of crow eating around here when my book gets published. Publishers. Repeat. Publishers. Publishers. Here we are. You're not going to send it to a publisher. What did you think I was going to do with it? Well, a lot of authors just put their first book away. They consider it a kind of training. They don't put bestsellers away. This has everything. Love, war, poverty, death, cooking recipes. I mean, you never read a book before where they actually gave you a cooking recipe right in the middle of a chapter, did you? No? Do you know what the bestsellers are? Cookbooks. And I've thrown it in for nothing. 6 of Mama's best recipes. Just wait. I'll show all of you.
Patty, how was everything at school today?
Fine, thank you.
Are you feeling all right?
Fine, thank you.
Now, look, Patty, I know how sensitive the artistic temperament is, but you've had this Iron Curtain up for a week now. I told you I'm sorry if I've hurt your feelings. But if you're going to be an author, then you have to get used to criticism. Besides, I wasn't criticizing you. I was criticizing your book.
Of course. I understand. I'll get it. Thank you. I know.
Who was it, Cathy?
Telegram for Patty Lane. For me?
Is anything wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. It's just a telegram from my publisher. My book's going to be published immediately. They expect it to be a bestseller. If you'll forgive me now, I think I'll retire to my garret.
How did you get the idea for your book?
Well, everyone is always attacking the teenager. When adults think of us, they think of rock and roll, telephones, hamburgers. I wanted to give them a more realistic image. Show them the real us.
Yeah, a brave teenage girl runs away from her home in Detroit to become a nurse among the Poi Poi Indians in the wilds of the Mato Grosso.
Oh, hello, Mr. Lane.
Hello, boys. Hello, Patty.
Hi, Papa.
Alfred's interviewing Patty for the Brooklyn Heights Clarion. The paper's running a front-page story on her.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
You know, teenage girl becomes famous author overnight.
I'll bet it must make you feel kind of funny. Me scooping your daughter like this. I mean, you being a newspaper editor, too.
Well, yeah, it does feel a little funny, yeah.
I suppose you're planning a Sunday feature story on her, huh?
Well, we hadn't decided on the day yet.
Our readers would like to know your opinions about your fellow authors. Whom do you admire most?
Ernest Hemingway.
What do you think of T.S. Eliot?
T.S. is long-winded, but very talented.
And Francoise Dupart?
An illiterate French child.
Well, if you'll excuse me.
Will you be going to Hollywood to write the picture?
Probably.
Hello, dear.
Hey, what's cooking? It smells good.
That's me.
Oh.
Is the press conference still going on?
Oh, yeah. I can't understand it.
The book is being published.
Yeah, I know it is, but I don't know why.
Couldn't you have been wrong about it?
It's not very good.
Well, the publisher saw values in it that you didn't see.
You read it. What's your opinion?
It's not very good.
And yet somebody is willing to shell out an advance of $1,000 or $2,000 plus the money it's going to take to publish it. According to the telegram, the contracts are on the way. So I guess we must be wrong. What are we having for dinner tonight?
Crow.
Good evening. My name is Blair of the Buyer Publishing Company. I wanted to meet Miss Patricia Lane.
Oh, well, how do you do, Mr. Blair? I'm Patricia's father.
Well, it's an honor, sir, an honor and a privilege. I always say more attention should be paid to the parents of talented writers. Behind every talented writer is a mother, a father, shaping them, molding them. Genius, I always say, is no accident.
No. Well, I'm sorry, but Patricia is out right now.
Well, my fault, sir. I should have telephoned first, but I just happened to be in the neighborhood, and I did want to meet Patricia and to drop the contracts off.
You brought the contracts with you?
Oh, yes. All she has to do is sign them.
Come in, won't you?
Yeah.
This is my niece, Cathy. This is Mr. Blair, Patricia's publisher.
How do you do? Patty will be so sorry she missed you.
Oh, that's all right. She'll be seeing a lot of me. That's a mighty talented young woman. We don't get many manuscripts like hers.
I should think not.
Well, I don't want to detain you, Mr. Lane. I would like to discuss the advance.
Well, we can talk about that if you like. What did you have in mind?
Well, our usual advance is $1,500.
$1,500?
Well, yes, if that is satisfactory to her.
Well, I'm sure that it would be. That's more than satisfactory.
Mr. Blair, do you really feel Patty's book is going to be a bestseller?
There's no doubt about it. That book has got everything. The romance, war, death, cooking recipes. Well, I've got other authors to see tonight, and I'm sure you have business to take care of, Mr. Lane, so if you'll just give me the check, I'll be on my way.
Check?
The $1,500.
You want a $1,500 advance from me?
No, from your daughter.
Oh, from my daughter. This publishing firm of yours, Mr. Blair, it's one of those vanity presses, I take it.
Well, I wouldn't call it that.
I don't care what you call it. The point is that people pay you money to publish their books so they can see their name in print.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, Mr. Lane.
And you'll publish anything that's submitted to you.
Well, actually, Mr. Lane, my business is not with you, it's with your daughter. And she did sign a contract.
Patty signed a contract?
Oh, yes. All of our authors, when they submit their manuscripts to us, sign a contract specifying that if we accept their book for publication, they will be personally responsible for all the cost of the publication thereof. And the contract is airtight. So if you want to talk to anybody, you can talk to my lawyer. Good night, Mr. Lane. Young lady.
Miss Blair, be sure to tell your lawyer that the girl who signed the contract is 16 years old.
What did you say?
I said that you'd made an airtight contract with a minor.
You mean a 16-year-old girl wrote that book?
Well, Hemingway, Solinger, and Betty Crocker wrote some of it.
I ought to sue you for wasting my time. Good night.
You're forgetting something, Mr. Blair.
What?
You promised my daughter that you'd publish her book.
Forget it.
All right, I won't detain you, Mr. Blair. We're both busy men. You have authors to see, and I have to get down to my newspaper.
Newspaper? You wouldn't be, Martin Lane, would you?
Yes?
Not the managing editor of the New York Chronicle?
Yes?
Mr. Lane, the vanity press is a perfectly legitimate branch of the publishing business. We cater to people's dreams, people whose dream it is to see their novel in print.
I'm aware of that.
Yes, well, now I would not want to be unfair about this. Your daughter's book does have a certain naive charm to it. Well, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't publish it. At our expense, of course. I suggest a 10-copy press run. That way, Patricia will be satisfied, and she'll never have to know how big the edition was.
Patty has a lot of friends.
Well, all right, 25 copies. 50 copies. 100 copies.
That's a nice round figure.
Boy, Cathy, were you smart not to go? That movie wasn't released. It escaped.
Patty, I want you to meet your publisher. This is Mr. Blair.
Mr. Blair? Yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am. I've never been published before. How did you like the book?
I sincerely feel that that book is one of the most unusual works we have ever handled.
Francoise Dupont, je suis arrivée. Boy, being a celebrity is sure rough on the fingers. I must have autographed 100 books.
You promised you'd autograph one for me.
Okay.
Could you put on it, to Ross, from his sister who wrote the book?
Sure.
Thanks. I promised the kids that I'd bring it to class tomorrow.
Your book has certainly created a stir around Brooklyn Heights High.
I'll bet it has.
Created quite a stir around here.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I brought the revised contracts.
That's wonderful, Mr. Blair.
You don't mind if I read those first, do you?
Hope so.
Thank you.
Boy, have I got a surprise for you, Mr. Blair. My new book.
Here's Cathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair. But they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find they laugh alike,
They walk alike,
at times they even talk alike. You can lose your mind.